Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. They have fired her and her little friend Daniel Blake too, it seems. The Bud Light executives responsible for destroying what was a good, popular American brand that many of us have had memories of for decades and was part of American culture. Like Star Wars used to be part of American culture. The executives responsible for destroying Bud Light have been fired. That's according to exclusive reporting from the Daily Caller. We will get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Thank you for that. Okay, coming from the Daily Caller, which has been doing great reporting on the Bud Light story, exclusive. A source says top Anheuser-Busch marketing executives behind the boycott are no longer employed. We haven't heard an update on this story since 3 weeks ago when I did a story reporting how Alissa Heinerscheid was kind of caught on the street by Daily Mail reporters who tried to interview her, and her friend had to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, she can't talk right now." Well, now we have another update. The two top Anheuser-Busch marketing executives who were placed on leave amid the company shakeup no longer work for the brand, a source inside of Anheuser-Busch confirmed in text messages obtained by Daily Caller on Tuesday. Group Vice President for Marketing Daniel Blake and Bud Light Marketing Vice President Alissa Heinerscheid are gone, according to obtained text messages with a current regional head of marketing. The caller is granting anonymity to the source to discuss legally fraught internal company policy. To my understanding, if we publicly announce the word fire, it opens up the potential for them to sue us. That's why we said leave of absence, the source said in a text message obtained by the caller. Quote, the wholesalers would have had an absolute heyday with leadership if they didn't remove her, the source said. The source inside the company also said. To be fair, Daniel Blake was actually awesome. I think he was just caught in crossfire. But he also did hire her, so that's a fault, the source continued. Her being Alissa Heinerscheid. Independent wholesalers and distributors were told both of them are gone for good by leadership during in-person conversations. They already shifted all their direct reports to new people and the head of marketing, the source added in another text message obtained by the caller. Earlier in June, Bud Light parent company Anheuser-Busch opened an email the caller sent asking for specifics about Blake and Heinerscheid, but did not reply. The caller specifically asked whether the two were still on leave, whether they were on paid leave or unpaid leave, and whether they would be returning to work if they hadn't yet. The company was also given multiple days to respond to the deadline. This situation is one where the independent distributors are the ones who take the beer from Bud Light and then distribute it to individual store accounts. They need to know what's going on. The wholesalers have been impacted tremendously by this terrible promotion from Alissa Heinerscheid. If they didn't get rid of Alissa Heinerscheid, how could they ever have confidence going forward that the situation is going to get fixed? Of course, the situation isn't going to get fixed because no one on earth could fix the brand for Bud Light at this point. It is forever changed into a brand where if you love the idea of jumping into a bathtub with Dylan Mulvaney or you want to run around naked at a parade, then this beer is for you. That's all thanks to Alissa Heinerscheid. If not, the brand is not for you, and that's why it's no longer a mainstream brand. Bud Light has faced heavy criticism and lost its spot as America's top-selling beer, obviously, in early June due to a boycott that began after transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney showed off a personalized beer can featuring the influencer's face. Bud Light also released the can featuring a rainbow design and the words, quote, celebrate everyone's identity, with different pronouns printed on the bottle. Heinerscheid, the 39-year-old who allegedly lives in an $8 million apartment close to Central Park, appeared on a podcast in late March to promote Bud Light's new marketing. I don't think it was actually to promote Bud Light. It really wasn't even a mainstream podcast. It just had a couple of hundred views. You could find it now. It might have 1,000 views. It's not a big channel. It was just kind of interviewing a working woman kind of thing. Nothing wrong with that, except what she said. On the podcast, she said the company needed to update its, quote, fratty image and change its out-of-touch humor. The caller obtained leaked images in April that showed Heinerscheid partaking in the same behavior she seemed to be criticizing during a Harvard social club event. This was that fratty Alissa Heinerscheid, as if she's too good to allow the beer to appeal to people in college. I mean, she was doing the same thing. That's her right here that everybody does in college. They go out, they have fun, they get nuts, they get drunk. What's wrong with that? College students have been supporting Bud Light for decades at this point. She had no business criticizing her customers. The photos were obtained from a source who had screenshots of the album on Alissa Heinerscheid's Facebook page. The album was named ISIS Senior Reverse Initiation Scavenger Hunt and included photos of Heinerscheid and others drinking and holding condoms up to their mouths. A 2005 article in the Harvard Crimson describes the university's ISIS club as a, quote, haven of inebriated ditzes. So Ms. Heinerscheid apparently was part of a club where she was an inebriated ditz per her own club's definition. Reports circulated shortly after that Heinerscheid had taken a leave of absence from the company, and Blake, her boss, took a leave of absence not long after. Quote, given the circumstances, Alissa has decided to take a leave of absence, which we support, an Anheuser-Busch spokesman told the Wall Street Journal. Daniel has also decided to take a leave of absence. Ah, what a coincidence. The caller reached out to Anheuser-Busch's media contact multiple times about Blake and Heinerscheid no longer working for the company, but did not receive a response by the time of this publication. So obviously they needed to get rid of her, and the distributors needed to know, hey, what's going on here? Are you going to keep this person? What's your marketing plan for the future? She was in charge of marketing for Bud Light. She was the first woman in charge of marketing for Bud Light, which is nice as long as she does her job and doesn't destroy all the independent wholesalers, independent businesses. Wholesalers have gotten it just as bad as the Bud Light company has gotten it. It's actually even worse for them because they're private companies for the most part. There's 500 of them. They depend on the product, the marketing, the promotion, the distribution, the parent company that makes Bud Light to deliver the product and to make people aware of it and to create demand for it. The distributors are really not in the business of creating demand for the product that they sell. They might do a promotion here and there, but it's the manufacturer that's responsible for really creating the public awareness. They're the ones with all of the marketing dollars. Alissa Heinerscheid got a lot of awareness attached to Bud Light, but not the kind of awareness that the wholesalers were looking for, and not the kind that the customers were looking for either. Recently, Bud Light seems to still be doing ridiculous sponsorships. If you haven't seen this sponsorship, Bud Light served as an official sponsor at the Toronto Pride Parade, where wild footage shows naked men marching and dancing in front of children and families along the parade route. And Bud Light's logo and brand is featured very prominently at this parade. So this is after Alissa Heinerscheid. This is after they're trying to show customers, hey, don't worry about Dylan Mulvaney. We're not that kind of company. Well, apparently they are that kind of company. And maybe if they're going to stay this kind of company, they could get Alissa Heinerscheid to at least consult for them and help them to be more woke, more inappropriate, and really continue to damage their brand so that nobody would ever want to be near or associated with another can of Bud Light again, if they're not the kind of person that wants to run around naked in a parade. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you have fired Alissa Heinerscheid? Do you think there was any way she could have continued with the company after the wholesalers were pretty furious about what she did and the complete destruction of their business? Every one of them lost money over this. I can't imagine her staying, but maybe you have a different idea about it. Do you think Bud Light might actually change the way they're marketing and promoting the brand? Or do you think they're going to continue to sponsor these events, Pride event or not Pride event, where men are going to run around naked in the street in front of children? Is that the kind of association they're really looking for? Doesn't that make you a little uncomfortable with that brand? It doesn't make me want to be holding a Bud Light can and have people say, hey, there's that Adam Post guy. What's his deal? And a beautiful woman that's holding a Bud Light can. Doesn't she have to wonder, like, are people thinking, am I really born biologically a male or a female? Or like, what is the association that you're supposed to have if you're holding a Bud Light can? I don't think it's the kind of beer that people want to be holding and getting judged about. Definitely let me know what you think. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.